What up? What? I don't like this. It looked like I was crying. Give me a second, world.
Y'all right? Are things a bit heavy for your brother?
I'm so excited that we've been doing this for a year. Okay. Fuck it. We'll just incorporate it into it. What up? Welcome back to the pod. Y'all are here with what I look like, the most emotional person in the world. Everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Don Don. Yours truly, right? And I'm loving me on purpose today. And I am joined by the number one hustler out of Missouri, Qualls, aka.
Mr. Qualified. You gotta say number one hustler out of Wisconsin though. Missouri, I don't claim really. I mean, I'm here, but I don't claim it.
Yeah, but you were currently there. You were,
This is where I'm currently hustling out of.
yes. You got to hustle to get out of there. But nobody wants to be in misery. No shade to my Missouri folk, even though people in Missouri don't claim Missouri, they claim Kansas City or St. Louis. So
Right.
I'm not mad at that
Yeah.
because we don't claim Illinois, right? Chicago is its own state. Let's be real.
I wonder how many cities are like that, or if that's just a Midwest thing. Because Milwaukee is the same way. But I feel like if you were to ask a city on the East Coast, like no matter the city, like they still rep their state. Like no matter what city, they rep Virginia
Yeah.
or they
Except
rep
maybe
Maryland. Or
except maybe Philly. I don't hear people proudly say I'm from Pennsylvania. Like literally nobody has said
oh,
that.
they say Philly.
It's Philly specifically, but yeah, no, Chicago is its own state. So here
Well,
we are.
well, DC too. I guess DC as a city, like ain't no, I don't know how that works because it's the whole D. It's always confused me. We don't have to get into it.
Yeah, that's fine. But no, just to clear up the airwaves, I was not crying before camera. We called action and my body decided to yawn. And because of that, my eyes started to cry. So I'm just so happy for y'all to be here with us right now. Mm.
I do think a round of applause is in order for us doing this for a year. You officially being a part of the pod for a year. So come on, let's give
What
it.
up? Round of applause.
No,
Hey.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
that's wild. Shout out to Facebook, because they will remind you that you did some shit some time ago. But yeah, no, it's been what, a year. We said March to March since I joined. So I don't know, it's crazy. I didn't think that I would be a podcaster. I'm a content creator, if you will. So yeah.
well, you a man with a mic, but I would say, given some of the feedback we've gotten, we are like acceptable men with mics. I don't think we fit the stereotype that people typically tend to be alluding to when they talk about men having mics and trying to put away the podcast equipment. So we must be doing something relatively right. I guess we might have some good heads on our shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. And the feedback and the love that y'all give us is great. And we just keep making content. The one thing that I am floored by genuinely is that consistently y'all say I'm funny. And I'm not gonna say I don't see it, but I don't see it because y'all are laughing at things that I'm saying serious. So, I mean, I make myself laugh, sure, but I don't think that makes me a comedian. But yeah, I mean,
I
I
think
appreciate
that's what makes
it.
it fun. I think that's what makes it funny is that for people that know you, they know that you're serious, which is what makes it hilarious. But for people that are being introduced to you, it's like imagine them trying to figure out, like, wait, is he seriously saying this, or is he just trying to be funny, or is this just like a dry humor type of thing, or just like he believed this in his heart of hearts? Regardless of wherever they land, it's still funny and
Yeah.
and you still have some sense. So you're not being like ignorantly funny, like it's like a sound funny. Like, no, this is a genuine question, but like I think it's funny to ask because why have we not gotten the answer to this yet? So it's a special lane. I'd be proud.
I take it. You know what? Let me get my my humor award, right? No. No, I just
Is that
it's an old MBMI award turned backwards.
humor award is crazy.
Right. No, I mean I wear it with a badge of honor. I process the world through sarcasm and humor because that's just how my brain works, but that doesn't mean it translates as funny to other people. I don't take myself too serious. So if I can laugh at myself and y'all can laugh with me, then hell, we have a good time.
Yeah, nah, that's very real. But yeah, man, I don't know about you, but I'll ask you first because I got some stuff to get off my chest for my week. But how was yours?
Um, Good. I don't think it was bad because I clearly it's nothing jumping out, but I mean, cool. You know what? It's great. I'm gonna give you a real answer. It's great. You know why? Because it is about to be officially spring. We had almost like 70-degree weather yesterday in Chicago, and I got every window in my house open, getting, a little cross breeze. The blinds is shaking and shit. Like we having a good time. It was so many brake lights on the Dan Ryan last night. It's not even funny. Everybody was outside.
Yeah, it's about that time in the Midwest. When we get our first little tease of spring or summer in March, because we know it's gonna go back to reality for a little bit. When we get that first tease, we treat it like it's a holiday. We got the grills out. You know what I'm saying? We do it. We having a party. You know what I'm saying? When we get that first taste of warm weather again. It's been 70 degrees all week in Missouri. It's been 70 degrees all week.
And y'all are enjoying it for real. We just getting a touch and it's gonna be cold. I heard it's supposed to like snow on Wednesday or some shit. So boo. But right now, oh, they outside.
Yeah, no, they definitely outside. We are recording this before St. Patrick's Day, so people started yesterday. Okay, people started on Friday. They are already outside, bar crawling, doing everything to celebrate the holiday. Why did you send? I think you sent me this, and I thought it was so funny. What you sent me on Facebook. Why is St. Patrick's Day white people's freak, Nick?
One, that's hilarious. Two, you made me sound old as hell by sending you something on Facebook. Um,
Hey, the context, you don't context the whole Instagram situation. It's
I
just
was hacked.
context is important. Context is important. You
I
ain't
was hacked.
you're not just perusing Facebook, for leisure per se, and just sending stuff on there. So yeah.
Just, shout out to our older family members and network on Facebook, but it's hey nephew, what's up, cuz? Oh, nice glasses. Like it's always some like short comment of compliment like that on Facebook. So no, I have not joined the ranks of the Facebook elders, but St. Patrick's Day is white folks freaking it. It definitely is. That shit is hilarious.
It's so true. Like you can't argue it. Like it just makes sense. It's one of those things. But no, that's real. I'm glad that you had a great week.
Doesn't sound like you had the same experience.
No, not at all. Not at all. I had an extremely interesting week. I went from calling the week shitty to saying that it was okay, but it was just rough. Like it was just an off week. It was more off than like there being something specific that made it like terrible. I just didn't get a good start. Was up late Sunday night editing, which translated to an extremely late morning. Like, I'm not necessarily an 8 o'clock person at the job. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't making it seem like, I'm the most morning person to begin with. But I like to give myself a strong cutoff of 8:30. Like I feel like, for black people in my head, that's a respectable like late time if you have the flexibility to do so, right? Everybody don't have that. I didn't get into work till 9:30 that Monday. Like I might as well have called off if I was gonna get in that late. Like that's how I felt. But that kind of started the week, and then
That's black math.
ain't it? Might as well call off and get in at 9:30. Like that's not still very much the morning time. But no, but my routine is never to get started that late, and I just feel like I never recovered from that type of late start to that day, and it just kind of translated into the entire week. Got reminded about student loans this past week, which just damn near send me into his own send me into his own depression. Just
La, 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 la.
I talked to boy. Boy was like, listen. He was just like, they it's don't worry about it, brother. We all trying to figure that out. It's okay. Some of it ain't gonna get figured out, and that's all right too. I was like, true, but no, just a week of kind of trying to recover, but then also I felt like I was trying to take inventory of maybe like why it was so difficult for me to recover. Because as you well know, I would like to feel like I'm pretty based in solutions. Like if there's an issue, let's figure out the solution so we can move forward because we move. And I think it was about like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'm like, I can't figure out a solution. I can't break this cycle of being annoyed, being frustrated, and I can see it starting to affect work, affect qualified stuff, affect like just my natural um like method of operation. And that became more irritating than anything else. So it got better as the week went on. And by the time we got to yesterday, I was just happy to be done with the week in general. But I felt more productive than I did before. But yeah, it was a really trying week. It was a test for sure. One that I don't feel like I've experienced yet this calendar year. But I mean, you always do for one every now and again. So I think I had my first week like that of the calendar year.
But dare I say, you had to hustle through the week.
That's
Um, no, glad you survived though. They always say you survive 100% of your worst days. So, and I don't know if that gives you any comfort or solace knowing that you went through hell, but you survived it. So we live to fight another day.
absolutely. And no, it's definitely solace. I think the biggest takeaway I've been able to get in the last probably like 24 hours is once I was really able to take even another step back and kind of understand everything that is on the horizon. In a weird way, it kind of like preparation. Like it was kind of like this jolt of like you're about to enter this space of like not the norm for you. You're bringing a lot of other things onto your plate, so it's going to require you to have the ability to be stretched, to have hands in multiple things at once, and need you to kind of get a little shock, like, hey, get ready, nigga. Look, Bob, and use your weave. Be ready. Okay? But but yeah, no, but there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon too. So while this weekend was stressful and it was rough, it's also like you still got a lot of positive to look forward to. So also leaning more into that. But yeah, gotta stay positive.
That is seasonally appropriate because we would just say spring up, fall back. Like spring is upon us.
And forward.
Spring, what I say?
Up.
Spring up.
I mean, it's not wrong technically, but
Well, just like people say, I'm about to cut this candle off. You no, you
who says that?
candle is not on the switch.
Is it black people that say that? We say cut the candle off.
Yeah. It's not a light. I mean, for some it may be, but it's I don't know about every situation, but spring forward, right? Because we fell back already. Now we're springing forward. The time change. This is seasonally appropriate. So, how are you preparing for spring? If you gonna let last week's struggle be in the past and you gonna spring up or spring forward, what's that looking like for you?
Yeah, definitely some spring cleaning that's gonna have to take place. It's kind of already started. Honestly, I didn't even think about it till you just said it. But daylight savings time is probably what really triggered this whole thing. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that was the catalyst. But no,
That
no,
was everybody.
yeah. But no, in all honesty, weather is getting better. So I think a lot of people are also talking about just coming out of that seasonal depression, which I don't feel like has ever been like a definitive type of thing for me. But I definitely understand how for a lot of people it being lighter out for longer, just makes you feel better naturally. But no, as much as it's spring cleaning in life and just trying to kind of have a new spark, going into the season. It's also taking inventory of, I guess, like, yeah, my personal life, or whether that be people, things. I don't know, trying to limit distractions, trying to limit and eliminate things that just don't feel like they serve a purpose anymore. It always sounds so morbid and so bad, but in all honesty, it's just some things die out, some things you move on from, in whatever capacity you want to look at that in. But yeah, spring cleaning is definitely upon us. So that's what I'm kind of looking to do and what I'm excited to do as the spring season approaches. What about you?
Yeah, now everything ain't meant to last always. Like we talk about things happening for a season, and that can happen for multiple seasons, or it could just be one. So that's clothes, that's habits, that's friends, that's family, animals. If you can see the one that's behind me. But yeah, no, I quite literally started my spring cleaning. I decided to make a big boy decision and I purged my closet for the first time in a long time. Like I still had clothes from before grad school
Mhm.
that I not only had in my closet, but still had not worn yet. So I was like, no, I got rid of I don't know. I have like three open drawers and a gang of hangers that are just free. Like I really gave clothes away, and that's hard for me to do. So, yeah, I'm trying to switch that up. I've been consistently in the gym for probably over a month now. I didn't, I gained a little weight, on purpose. So I'm 1 pound away from my next goal. So, strong man. Yeah, that's me.
I'm weak as hell. But no, those are actually two things that I've been focusing on as well. I literally have been wow, I don't even know why I said the word like that. I'm gonna rewind that back. I literally have been telling myself for the past week, like, yo, it's time, bro. You got to do this. You got to go through that closet, man. It's too much in there just taking up space. You got to do it, and it's just as hard for me as it is for you. So I'm like, it's a project for this weekend. It'll be done, but yeah, definitely need to purge that. Ain't no telling what all I'm gonna get rid of, and how much space I'm gonna have left. But given that I'm finally at a space where I'm like, I don't think I got too much from before grad school at this point, but there's also still a decent amount that like just don't fit the same. There was a time where I was on my way out of a medium, but I was still buying mediums.
We know.
So it's just time to let those go. And people don't be wanting to believe that I'll wear a large now. I don't know why. I don't know what the confusion about it is, but
Well,
nonetheless.
that's because you built like an action figure across the top. Like you got shoulders and chest. Like you have to accommodate for that.
Yes. But it's hard because I don't need the shirts to be too long because I know
Yeah.
I dress tall, but my height's still my height. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't trying to look too crazy. I ain't trying to look like one of the good brothers you always tend to talk about when we talk about vertically challenged people. But
You,
nonetheless,
you photograph tall though. Like you know your angles.
I try. I try to put myself in the best position in all situations. But same with the gym too. I've never thought that I've like carried my weight bad, but I think I experienced body dysmorphia. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely don't think like I look as bad as I feel like I do, but I just know I want to look different or I'm used to looking a little bit different, whether that just be a bit more toned or whatever the case may have you. But I've been consistently in the gym for about a month. Like, from February, I was consistent. And then until this past week where I kept trying to like get back into the gym each day, and it wasn't happening. It was I said we just gonna try again Monday. We gonna start fresh. But yeah, so no, two very important things that I'm hoping to keep up the momentum with moving forward. And it's kind of exciting. Like I said, just finding that spark. Like, we done got through that weird period of the beginning of the year where like after New Year's, it's just like you get a couple big moments, but other than that, it's just pretty dull until you get to about the beginning of spring and really into April. But yeah, so try to get some rejuvenation going.
Yeah, and shout out to you for even saying that because I feel like a lot of guys, specifically black men, don't really talk about body image for real.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I want muscles because I like play sports, and that's just like something that's naturally supposed to come on. But body image is a thing across the board. Like it's more specific, I feel like, to women in just like today's society, but it's definitely us. Like I have always been a little dude. Like, let's be real. Like, I've always been relatively lean, and I have been smaller than my other male counterparts, right? So, the same way, like you photograph tall, I try to photograph wide is where I possibly can. But that's different when my legs look like broomsticks, So it ain't much weight to me. But all across here, I can do something, But I'm trying to have my summer body loaded right now, and I'm in my squishy era. Like I'm fine with that because I'm gaining a little weight on purpose, but now I need to like tone that up so I can get my abs back from a couple years ago. Um, they are not quite, they still hibernate.
Hey, people like some squish though. You would be surprised how many people don't complain about, a respectable amount of squish.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like I want some body fat for sure, but let's be real. I don't care about what other people think. Like you can love me as I am, and that's fine, and I'm so grateful for it. But I also have to stand in the mirror and poke myself like Big Hero 6 and be like, nigga, what are we doing?
Oh, for real. I'd have some days where it's like, hey, dog, we know where we were. We know where we come from. It can't be that difficult to get back. It's the food though. It's the food. It's not
Oh
me
yeah.
getting into the gym and ultimately staying with a routine. That's not the problem. It's not that really what to eat is so much the issue. It's just the consistency of like whether that's meal prepping, whether that's making sure like you stay away from certain things. It's like it takes a lot of effort and it's not a bad thing. It's not that it's not feasible, but it just takes a lot of intentionality to like eat right to really see those gains. So shout out to all the fitness people. It's a million of y'all fitness influencers now. No disrespect, no shade. But to all of y'all out there that's eating right, cutting down the carbs, doing all this excessive cardio, shout out to y'all. Y'all are inspiring people. I may not have followed suit just yet, but I see y'all. It's there. I'm still striving.
And you know what? I'm gonna come on the other side of the argument. I don't use the H word too often, but you know what I hate? I hate people that are in shape that eat what they want to.
That's a
Like I see people pig the fuck out. Okay, they be eating down, and they got 37 abs. I'm like, damn, all I had was a bag of popcorn, and now I look like a hot air balloon. And the honesty of a child. Oh, my
Ooh.
niece was over here the other day. She is me, but she lacks the emotional intelligence of a 35-year-old, right? So at 18, it's just coming off the dome, right? She looked at me, walked in, was like, "You bloated." I was like, "Damn." I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Oh, well, you look bloated," and then proceeded to have regular conversations. So
They don't care. They do not.
12 hours, I was like, "Damn, am I bloated? Am I 2 months pregnant? What's going on?" And then I was like, "Yeah, you are. You just didn't realize it." So yeah, I'm like, you gotta have thick skin around kids.
Yeah, they do not care at all.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the summer body loading. But I mean, we joke about this now, but I like how I look. I love how I look, and it's all fine. It's just like those little things to compare to, like when I'm scrolling through my camera roll, and I'm like, damn, I look good 2 years ago. I was also thick as hell 2 years ago. So I had lost 26 pounds off a frame that could not stand to lose 26 pounds. So it has been a 2-year journey to get that weight back and add some to it. But as you add it back, the abs they don't really be there.
Yeah, and that was something I had to think about too. Like I didn't consider from last year, I didn't consider how much my injury like contributed to the difference in my body. Because I went from somebody who not only was in the gym lifting, but I was also still playing basketball relatively frequently, like as additional cardio. And I have like before maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I hadn't played basketball in about 8 months. And I think maybe since COVID, that's been the longest I've went, like without playing somewhat regularly. So there definitely be factors as to why the body does change. So it's definitely not all a personal thing or like we just stopped, grinding. It just
Yeah.
but no, the question I had, and I feel like we can end off on this, but the question that had crossed my mind a couple times now, but I don't feel like I've ever asked you. I don't know what the moment might have been for you or if this was even a moment for you, but what about me or when did you realize that I was somebody worth mentoring and taking under your wing? Now, granted, I know you have a lot of young men that you've mentored, obviously. I would imagine you look at all of your students that way. But I would imagine, and I personally would like to think that like our relationship obviously has went past like whatever a teacher student dynamic or relationship would have been. Like obviously we became closer, became brothers in a deeper sense, you know what I'm saying? But what was the moment where you kind of, if it's a thing, what was the moment where it was like that's somebody who, like, yeah, they're a peer, but as somebody who might be looking to me for guidance, like I want to invest in that person.
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know that there was a specific moment, but I will say if when you ask me that question, I immediately go back to your persistence. And sometimes persistence can be annoyance, but it was like a warranted persistence where like you always came to my office, you always was like present, and you don't get a lot, and we're not that far off in age, but like you don't get a lot of younger people or younger bros at the time that really want to be around the adults, right? It's just like, oh, I want to be with my LBs. I want to do the fun stuff. But like you did that and still was like very intentional in being with the older crowd. So you got absorbed into what were we at the time, youthfully mature bros or
It's
some
I forget the
it
first
was
time.
some terrible thing, but like there were the obvious young bruhs, and then it was the old folks of Columbia, and we were old at like 27, right? So it's not even old for real, but it was that you always kept coming around. So it was different to say like, oh, I'm gonna make sure that I am present and giving myself, to whatever to invest in other people around me. But then you see when somebody else is like actually trying, you're like, oh, I'm gonna meet them halfway. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. So I don't know if it was one particular moment, but then I just realized like you kept coming around without like ask or without a real need. It was just like, I'm here today. So what we talking about? Okay, I'll check on you later. So I was like, oh, Rita did a good job. He was raised right. So shout out to Mama Paul. But yeah, no, it was something around that time, and then everything just kind of moved forward from then because we had what fall 18, we had the pandemic. Um,
That stretch of time was really, I think that stretch of time absolutely did it. I would say from, well, I know for me, actually, it started earlier because if we go back to the very first moment, um, it was the first moment in class. But I think I feel like you took the time to speak to me directly in that moment. And I think it was maybe one of the first moments during that time that I kind of felt seen in a way. And to not know you that well in that moment, it was something that I carried with me, which is why, as time went on, you were somebody that I sought out because it felt genuine and it just felt like when you say something, when you tell somebody something about themselves or in reference to something they're doing, it's genuine, it's for a good reason, and it's because you want them to succeed. And I always wanted to have I learned that it's good to have people like that around you to be guided by people um, that take that approach because not everybody does. So I think that kind of for me was the onset of like, oh, but let me bother Donald today. Let me see what Donald got going on. He ain't doing nothing. If he is doing something, he ain't gonna tell me no for real. So
It was very much that energy. Like there's no exaggeration in that. That's exactly how it was like received on my end. I was like, oh, whoops, clockwork, about qualls time.
especially my final semester. Yeah, that like fall 18, weekly, multiple times a week, actually 2 or 3 times a week, easily. I'm just in there for lunch. I don't know. In there for the whole afternoon, really. Don't matter.
It would be times where I would not be in my office. I would be across campus for a meeting or something. I'd come back and you just sitting there. I'm like, oh, hey, yep, yep, just was here waiting. I'm like, okay, text messages exist, but all right.
I surely was not texting you like that. I was just pop up. I'd be like, Miss V, is Donald here? Nah, he gone. He'll be back though. Okay, cool. I'll just wait.
I power walk across campus, and you just got your feet on my desk. I'm like, oh, well, hey.
Yeah, no, but I forgot what made me think about like that specifically, but I guess I just sometimes I get curious as to like I know how I invest on things like from my end. So I think sometimes I get curious, like, well, what makes other people, invest in things? Is it just the person? Is it something personal? Like for me, it's not always the person. I just I figured, what am I trying to say? I feel like that is how I just typically approach things in general. Like it doesn't have to be a specific person. There don't have to be too many specifics. If it feel cool, if the vibe's right, if I just feel like I rock with you, I'm pretty much willing to invest. But I know that not everybody necessarily takes that approach. So I guess I was just curious, like what your approach to those type of things in reference to me was.
Because I give everybody the same time and attention. Like I'm present with everybody equally, but I don't invest in everybody the same.
Yeah,
And it doesn't mean that they're not worth investing in. That just means I'm protecting my time and my energy. So it's just like, oh, if I feel like this would be reciprocated, or if I feel that, me doing this one thing is really going to make a difference or potentially change trajectory, then I do it. So that's where my signal goes off, my little spidey sense of mentorship.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, I'm just happy to be included in the many but few that have been blessed to be under the tutelage of Donald D. Gilliam.
Okay, come on, you pulling out all your ACT words.
Look, my grad school words, grad school words.
Okay. Why?
Master taught me a little bit.
Because you are a hustler.
I'm a hustler, baby. Just want you to know. Okay.
That's the episode, folks.
I'm like, that's it. That's it. Now we gotta wrap on that. But no, until next week, until the next time y'all see us on y'all screens, we'll catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.